latest roundtable song. Here it is.
CQ on the air tonight. Well, roundtable's lit and the signal's tight. Per static fades, I twist the knob. The shack comes alive, this is my job. LEDs glow, antennas high. Another night beneath the sky. I'm calling out, hear that tone. Across the globe, I'm not alone. The net's alive and I'm checking in. Let the conversation begin. We're at the amateur radio roundtable. We're all plugged in, solid and stable. W5KUB's calling loud and proud, spinning stories through the static cloud. From KW5GP to WI7BG, we're rocking the bands wild and free. Hey, Glenn's got mods on a breadboard bass. Brett's breaking news from a distant place. Tom's at the helm like a seasoned vet, streaming it live on the internet. Antenna swing, the skip is long. We're singing the ham radio song. Spin that dial, let's catch some heat. 40 meters never felt so sweet. But at the amateur radio roundtable, with coax lines and power cables, Deeks, petitions, QSLs, we got more ham than a southern belle. From KW5GP to WI7BG, we're working the world wild and free. Rockin' worldwide. Mic in hand and a call sign, pride. Oh yeah, the amateur radio roundtable. Story strong and signal stable. So key it up and call your name in this wild RF Hall of Fame. From KW5GP to you.
Everybody, welcome. You're listening to or watching Amateur Radio Roundtable, a show about ham radio, amateur radio, shortwave, electronics, you name it, we've got it here. Want to thank you for tuning in tonight. If you're out there listening on WBCQ 7490, we'd love to hear from you, where in the world you are. Send us an email to tom@w5kub.com, tom@w5kub.com. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us where you are, how you're hearing the station, and so forth. Hey, join our Facebook group. We've got a great Facebook group. We've got over 14,000 members in it. It's just called W5KUB to make it short. Just do a search in Facebook for W5KUB, and we'll make you a member of this group. We got a lot of interesting things that goes on in that group over there. And it's a pretty good group. We don't have any trouble in that group, so you know, hey, if you're a troublemaker, don't come. All right, now, let's see. We need you to hit that subscribe button. That helps us out a whole lot. And hit the notify button, because we will be coming on some in-between shows, and you might want to catch us when we're on. Of course, everything is recorded on YouTube. You can pick it up anytime you want to. We're on just about every audio podcast carrier out there, like iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play, all those, we're on all of them out there. So we're hitting a lot of places out there. Tonight we're streaming on X, we're streaming on Facebook, and we're streaming on YouTube. Okay, got all that out of the way now. I think we got a good show lined up tonight. We've got a special guest from us, from the UK, and it's getting late over here. So we're going to let him go first. I won't tell you exactly what it is yet, but it's going to be fun, I'm sure, and you're going to learn something. I know I will. Let's check in with, real quick, let's check in with the team and see what's going on. And let's start with Brett up there. Brett, how you doing out in Wyoming, man?
Oh, well, we're having our usual spring storms. It's every day there's a thunderstorm and strong winds. One of them even blew out the pilot on our furnace because the wind whipped down the chimney and did that. And that was that was a little bit of an adventure to figure that out and get it relit. I've been working on a little more on antennas and on that recapping project, and then Glenn sent me a couple of little treasures that that I'm going to be using for some projects, and I can show you what that is. He sent me a bunch of these little doodads. This is a Peltier effect heating and cooling module. The Peltier effect is where you send current through the junction inside this ceramic device, and it transfers heat from one side to the other. So you can use this to cool down an electric circuit. And I'm going to be working on doing interesting things with that. Otherwise, things here are pretty good. They're also going to be having at the next weekend something called a Trunk Fest here in Wyoming, in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and it's free to bring your stuff and basically open up the trunk of your car and swap things. A lot of the items are also free, because people are giving away the stuff that's accumulated that they don't need anymore or want anymore. So there could be some more treasures there. I expect to have a lot of fun with that. And that's what's going on here in Wyoming, at least so far.
Okay. How about you, Glenn? Anything going on with you?
Oh, just a few things. Brett's playing with the Peltier, and I'm playing with a proximity or motion detector that uses, I think it's 24 gigahertz pulsed radar to detect motion out to like 75 feet or thereabouts.
That's cool. Yeah.
It's part of the what do you want to say? My new slant for ham radio and Arduino microcontroller projects. In fact, I just got asked to do a forum for the Huntsville Ham Fest. And let's see if I can remember what the title of that ended up being. Let's see. There we go. The title is Going the Distance. And it's going to be discovering how to add remote control to your microcontroller projects. And I won't read the whole thing, so we don't keep everybody awake later than we have to. But that's going to be the focus for my Huntsville forum this year. And we're going to cover all kinds of cool remote stuff and things you can do at a distance with microcontrollers. So there you go.
Cool. All right. Well, let's skip on over to and let's talk with Andy Carpenter there. Andy is the co-founder, one of the co-founders of SDRplay. And Andy, I don't know all these companies you've worked for, but it looks like you've had a pretty good experience in some really high-tech companies, getting them running there and running software for them. And then moving on, I guess, to your latest endeavor, which is SDRplay. So you and some others developed the chipset for the SDRplay? I know you did a lot of different software.
Yes. So, thanks for having me. By the way, Tom, it's
Yeah.
really,
Well,
really,
first,
really
let me say this. I should have just come in here and said, hey guys, look at this guy. He it's almost 2:00. No, it's after 2:00 in the morning. He's with us, so we got to give him a lot of credit there, and I really appreciate that, Andy, with you being here, and also I love the UK. Where in the UK are you?
I'm in the southeast, in Kent, in the UK, in England, and
Okay.
just I suppose about sort of 10, 15 miles just outside of London, to the east of London. Yeah.
My job for 35 years was all international. All my work was outside the United States, and I made many trips to, Europe and UK, and I tell you, I really loved the UK. You didn't have any language problems or anything, and I could jump on the underground and what do you call it, the tube or the underground, whichever you want to call it, and pop up here and go down there, and oh man, it was great.
Yeah.
And that was one of my favorite places over there to visit. So I need to get back over and visit you guys.
Yeah. I'm a South London guy, so I sound quite from the rough end. I guess.
Well, hey, give us a little background. Fill in more detail, if you will, on some of your past work.
So I got, I think a lot of, just like a lot of people, I was very lucky. I had I was delivering various things for my dad in a lorry, and I had an accident, and I sort of realized that it wasn't for me, and I ended up, because of that accident, I ended up applying for a job at LSI Logic in southeast England, and they took me on, and really I didn't look back. It was an amazing. I mean, I've worked for a few American companies, and they basically allowed me. I mean, I was about 18 when I started at LSI Logic, and they let me just kind of do whatever I felt that I was capable of doing.
That's great.
And it was an amazing place to learn. I was put with all sorts of different people, and just learned a bunch of stuff. And then a few years sort of later, I pretty much stayed with the guys that I worked for or worked with at SI Logic. There's one guy in particular who basically I've worked with him since I was 18 until this year. So amazing place. And then another company that I joined ended up getting acquired by Analog Devices, and I got to spend quite a bit of time in Boston, which was good for me. And I learned a heck of a lot. And then me and a couple of colleagues, we started Mirix, and we did a chipset there, which basically SDRplay are using today. It was always designed as a software-defined radio chipset, and yeah, it's just great that it's being able to be used today. Really, So I've been very lucky. Sprinkling hard work and crazy hours, but I've been very fortunate actually. Worked with some really great people.
Yeah, it sounds like you just kept moving up with bigger and better things, and so I guess your background is pretty much totally software, or do you get involved in any of the hardware side?
Not really. I've done a very small amount of hardware design. The serial interface on the Mirix chipset, I had a hand in doing that. But predominantly, it's all pretty much been software. And since the conception of SDRplay, I've just been responsible for the software, and that's evolved because when we first started, we started in the first RSP was launched in 2014, and we sort of spoke to some people who said, don't need software, give us the library, give us the hardware, and we'll write all the software. And so that's what we did. We produced the library, we produced the hardware, and I think in the first month, we sold 2.
Oh wow!
And we kind of looked at each other and went, "What are we doing?" But it rapidly dawned on us that we had to have our own software, and so that was a process, kind of getting our own software. We ended up acquiring the rights to Studio One, which then we turned into SDR Uno, and now we've got our latest incarnation of the software, which is SDRconnect, and it's basically been a ground up redesign, cross-platform, so Windows, Mac, Linux, and that's been quite a journey. And we're still at the beginning of that journey. There's still lots and lots to come. Yeah, it's been a I don't know, how old am I now? Sort of 35 plus years of learning, I guess.
Well,
I'm still learning.
you're turning out a lot of products. I didn't realize how many you have, but you got a lot of new receivers out there. I think I was looking at them today on the web.
I think we've done. I mean, the hardware guys have done a great job. We always try to when we always learn from the previous the previous version of the products, and we put that learning into the next one. So they're always moving forward. They're always better, and I think people appreciate that. They can see that the technology is moving forward, and each of the different products has got something unique about it. So I think that's probably why when I go to shows and I do various events, I meet so many people who have said that they've got more than one. They've got they've got a Duo for a specific thing, or they've got a DX for a specific thing. It's nice, and it's nice to kind of get that reaction from people and see how people are using the different products.
Well, yeah. I'm sorry.
No. I was going to say, and even onto our latest one, which is the network radio. That's another.
I was going to say let's jump into your presentation or whatever you're going to show us tonight, your demo or whatever. But man, I got a lot of questions.
Yes.
Things like I hear we got rig control coming, maybe.
Yeah, so we demoed. We had a demo of the rig control running at the HRO stand at Dayton. I don't know if any of you guys had a chance to have a look at that, but so that's kind of interesting because Connect's cross-platform. So we're supporting OmniRig on Windows, but we're also supporting HamLib. So
okay, maybe you'll touch on that a little later. But hey, some of the things coming up that I'm interested in, and I really don't need it because I have Spectrum Analyzer or Scope, on my radios. But I know people are using these for pan adapters. I got questions about, how you'd use it as a pan adapter, maybe. Remote rig control is something that's coming up. Your new network receiver is interesting. So why don't you just go ahead and take it and jump into wherever you want to start, and we'll probably have a lot of questions come up. I'll try not to interrupt you, and we'll take the questions toward the end.
Okay, so I don't know if you can. Hopefully, you can see that. Is that the right way around? Is that good?
Yes, I can see it.
Okay, so what I've got here is this is our latest software called SDRconnect. As I said, it's cross-platform, Windows, Mac, and Linux. We also provide a web, for the NRSP, we provide a web client, and we're working on Android and iOS applications, and they'll all have the same look and feel. It's we've got some specific requirements that we've put on ourselves for SDRconnect, and the consistent look and feel across all the platforms has been one of the key drivers. In SDRconnect, so I've got a couple of things. I've got an NRSP that's local to my location. It's just in the room next to me, and that's showing here. I've also got a colleague of mine, John, who would have been here this evening, but he's got some family commitments, unfortunately, so he couldn't be here tonight. But he's got an NRSP at his house, and I can access his just as easy as I can my own. So if I start my own, let me mute that because I don't know how loud that's going to come through. So this is my own NRSP. All I've got connected to this is I've got a ground loop in the garden, and it does a pretty good job. So if I go down here, I've got different bands I can select. So I can go to 40 meters. and there's not a huge amount that I'm picking up in the UK. Um, Now, the nice thing about the network radio is that I can stop using mine. I can then go and pick John's, because I know John's got a much better antenna set up than I have, and let's see what's happening on John's. And there you go. So this is John's 40 meter, and he's probably about 35, 40 miles away from me, but he's got a much better antenna set up, and I can use John's radio just as if it was mine here. Um, I can do all the same sort of things. So we've got the same application, same. I can change what antenna, how much bandwidth we're looking at. Um, different. I can change the gain. Pretty much anything that I could do on my local one, I can do on John's. Um, and so this is the power of the. We're starting to now realise the power of the network radio. I can also um, stop using the application, and I can open up a browser window, which I've got behind here, and I can. This is now me connecting to John's NRSP through a browser, and you can see. So this is going to ask me to log in. So I'll log in, and now you can see. Let me just mute that a second. And so now you can see that I'm using John's radio just as I was in the application, but I'm now in a browser and a web client. And I can do all the same sort of things. I can change the bands and do all the sorts of things I was doing there. And so this has been a key driver for us. Like I said, it's having the consistent look and feel across the different environments. You can have multiple people on here, so you can see that we've got two connected users, which is both me at the moment. So I'm connected via the web client, and I'm also connected via the application. And the way it works is that the first person to connect gets the control of the hardware, and then everybody else sits in a queue. And when that first person disconnects, then the control passes to the next person, and so on and so on. So because I picked 40 meters in the application, 40 meters is what I've got to play with in the web client. But if I disconnected from the application, then the web client would get control, and I can go anywhere from sort of 1 kilohertz up to 2 gigahertz, anywhere in that spectrum. So this has been quite a learning curve for us, and so it's the network radio side is new to us, and we've the NRSP has got firmware in there, so we're constantly we can update the firmware as we find issues or can add new features. So it's just a great platform for us to be able to bring new features without using the same hardware, which is really neat. So the two new things that we're really focused on at the moment with SDRconnect, the first one is rig control. Like I say, there is a video. HRO recorded a video of the Hamvention, and there is a section in there where our guy Steve, who was at the show, is demonstrating the where we are with rig control, and that's kind of interesting because he had his rig on the stand. This is for sort of demonstration purposes, so you could see what was going on. He had a rig on the stand. His radio was back at his home. I think I can't remember where he lives, over on the west coast somewhere, and it was all working seamlessly. It was all tracking each other, and so if your rig is then situated with the NRSP, then you can do receive and transmit from a remote location. and so that's the sort of that's what we're working on finishing off for both Windows and obviously, like I say, for non Windows use. It's crucial to us that because we've got this cross platform application, that the features we add are not platform specific. We are very keen to make sure we add them across the different platforms, which means unfortunately things take longer to get done than we would like, but we want to present that consistent cross-platform um, system rather than focus on a specific platform. Um, the other thing that we're doing, which is very exciting, is we're adding a module system to SDRconnect, which means that third-party developers can write their own applications and control SDRconnect, control the NRSP, and yeah, so we're very excited to get that finished. And I think once we've got that, you'll see a lot of we're in contact with some third party developers who want to get decoders and various applications for like controllers or audio processing, like equalizers, that kind of stuff. Um, so yes, a lot of exciting stuff to come, and then after that, there's loads of things that we're still looking to add. So I think we're at the beginning of the journey with SDR Connect. I think it can be a little bit frustrating for people that are sitting waiting for these features, and we totally get that. But we're working very hard to present these features in the most complete way that we can. Um, and so we wanted to show rig control at Dayton to sort of show that we are working on it and we are making some progress. There is more work to get that functionality complete, and as soon as it's there, we'll roll it out to people. So yeah, it's let's see what else I can. The all the software is freely downloadable, and it's all available from our website and SDR Connect. And we've got a whole raft of videos and information and playlists on our YouTube channel. We're very keen to present as much information as possible, and the guys are cranking out videos as much as we can. But we're a very small team, and you know, we sort of share things like we do support. We'll sort of share the support load as well. So it's quite a full on job. It's been very rewarding, very exciting, um, and yeah, hopefully it will continue for some time to come yet. So
So let me,
I don't know if you guys have had a chance to have a look at SDR Connect at all.
yeah, I want to just a couple quick questions about Nathan. I don't
Uh,
know if you know.
Brett here. Yes, I saw it at Dayton, and it certainly looked interesting. I did have some questions about it. Uh, for
Sure.
example, in my shack, most of the computers are still running good old Windows 7, and I'm not sure if SDR Connect supports that anymore. Now, do you know if it does?
No, so the UI kit that we use is a Windows 10 and up kit. So from an application point of view, it won't run. But if you've got a browser that is if you've got if you've got a reasonably up to date browser, you should find that it runs within the browser
So only the
for the
computer.
NRSP.
I see, but only the computer that's connecting directly to the SDR has to be running Windows 10 then, or later.
Um, well, so the application I've got running here, um, this can connect to either an RSP that I've got locally, or it can connect to an NRSP anywhere in the world
Hmm.
from the application point of view. And then from a browser point of view, this can also connect to any NRSP that's around the world.
What we'll do, we'll take up collection here in the chat room and try to get you upgraded to at least Windows 8. Yeah. So I got a question.
By the way,
Yeah.
sorry, just a point. If anybody wanted to, so this NRSP that my colleague John has running, if anybody wants to connect to that, I can get you the details for that. You can anybody can log in and give the software a try and just have a look. All you need is a reasonably up to date browser. So anybody can log into it and just try it out.
Well, Andy, I tried before the show. I went to SDRplay website, and there's a link on there that says try out our remote, and I clicked on it, but I couldn't find any link to go to the actual SDR radio.
Okay, so if I don't know if you can see, so if you can you see that URL that's up there?
Let's see.
NRSP.ddns.net:9001. So if you go to there,
yeah,
and then hit play, it'll ask you for a username and password, and the username and password is test for both capital T.
I saw the write up where it said use test, but I could
Right.
never off your website. I could never find the link to actually connect to that. But that's probably my fault.
Okay.
Hey, couple questions. So is right now I'm running SDR Uno, and it seems very
Right.
complicated. There's a lot of stuff to try to learn and remember. Is the SDRconnect simpler or better? Is that something I should probably move to?
Yeah. So let me just stop this and go back to the application. So what we've tried to do with SDRconnect is is just really present you with the information that you need at the time. So if I start the stream here, so for example, if I want to change the hardware parameters, they're up here, but they get hidden away when I don't need them. Whereas in Uno, everything's available all the time, and it can get a bit confusing. And likewise, this panel down here, which is the side panel, which you can set things like what the AGC does and what the audio settings are. This is all collapsible, right? So you can kind of get all of this out of the way. You can even hide it and make more space for the spectrum, and so it simplifies the UI, gives you more space for to actually look at the signals, which is the fun bit, rather than looking at all the buttons all the time. And it's fully fully modular, so I can sort of change the look of the application, and I can change what I want to see. So it's very configurable.
So what I understand then is, all you need is just a late browser, and you can connect to the remote radio. You don't have to have any SDR software installed on your computer. You just need a browser.
No, that's right. Yeah, If you've got it needs to be a reasonably recent browser.
Yeah.
Because this is a WebAssembly that gets downloaded and installed in the browser.
Okay.
And that's how we keep the same look as the application. And so it needs to be a reasonably recent browser. And then you connect to the NRSP, and you'll see, and this will operate. I mean, we've hidden some things away just to make a lot of people try to connect to an NRSP on their phone or a tablet, and obviously, with the screen resolutions as they are, again, we're just trying to hide some of the stuff that's not really that useful and get more of the spectrum and the waterfall.
Okay. All right, good. Now, hey, remember where you are in your presentation, but we'll take just a quick look right here. Here's your SDRplay home page. I was looking for the link to for the remote. Do you recall where it is? Do you recall where the link is on this page? Did I lose Andy? Let me see. Hang on. All right, I got your audio back on, Andy. Do you?
So if you go to up at the top, you go to miscellaneous and then blog, because I think John did a blog post about it. I think that's where the link is.
Yeah, blog. Okay.
Let me just have a quick look.
Yeah.
It should be on there. Let me have a look.
Okay, let's talk about this. Is the news. I read that earlier, and
right. So
down
I'm just
here,
trying to.
This is what I was following earlier. See down here, it talks about.
Hang on a minute.
Network receiver. Okay, well, I don't want to take up a lot of our time here. Well, I'll look at this later, but you've already answered a lot of my questions here. So.
Yeah, I'll find that link for you.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I have a couple of more questions.
I think what's happened is that there's been so many other news items since John made it available.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of got pushed down the list. So yeah, here we are. Yeah, I found the post. Let me. I don't know if I can. Can I get this over to you somehow? Can I post that somewhere?
Well, I've got 5 different computers running right now. Could I not pull that up right here real quick?
Yeah, so it's this page here that's what you need to get to. So that was in the blog.
Was it?
But it
okay.
was quite a way
All right.
down.
All right.
So if you scrolled all the way down, I think it's December. So you're gonna need to go quite a bit down, all the way down to the bottom of the page.
Help me.
Basically.
I might pass it here.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out for it. You got to keep
So
going.
you guys are also now making the SDR-TR switch. You know, MFJ going out of business. I guess people still need this, so you're going to make a switch.
Yeah,
right?
we don't make the switch. We were just made aware of there's some other switches that are coming on. I was told of another
okay.
automatic switch,
Okay. Yeah.
like a power cutoff switch. That was a quite nice idea.
And right here is one of the questions I had earlier about the pan adapter. I mean, it's all explained right here, so that's cool. Here we go. Here's the remote.
Yep, a bit further down.
That's the remote. And has it got a link here? You can download the full article.
So that's an article by another by somebody else. If you go a bit further down.
Okay.
I think it's before. Yes. So this was that was a rally I did in the UK. A bit further down.
Remote access in your car.
So this is John using the NRSP in his car.
Ah, okay. That's cool.
A bit further down. That's a Radcom review. A bit further down.
Well, maybe it was above.
So no, it's a bit further down, but the page should update. When you get to the bottom, it should update. Here we go. There we go. It's loading. Oh. There we go. A bit further down then. If you keep going further down.
Ah, okay.
It's now loading.
I got you. Now the RSP1A, you guys aren't making that anymore, are you?
No, that's been replaced by the RSP1B.
Okay.
So yeah, it's February. Yeah, still keep going.
Wow,
I think what I'll do is that's the trouble, is there's been a lot of news, so it's got pushed down. I'll speak to John and maybe we can get it bumped up near the top a bit, because it's quite useful to have.
Yeah.
Wow. but I think it's here we go. I
Here
think
we
this
go.
is the one.
Okay, it's way
This
down.
is
I
the
just
post.
probably didn't go this far earlier. All right,
Yeah,
so
that's the problem. It's just been a
is there a
lot of
link?
stuff that we've. Yeah, it's a bit further down. There we go. See that link just at the
Right here.
bottom there, NRSP. No, yeah, but there's a blue link just
Oh,
below
okay.
that.
Okay.
There you go. So that'll take you to John's
Okay.
NRSP.
Okay, that's cool.
So you see the logo. That means that the web application is loading,
Yeah.
and then as soon as that's finished loading, it'll take you to the SDRconnect application.
There it
There you
is.
go. And then if you press play, it'll prompt you for username and password, and it's test for both, capital T for both.
Okay. Oh, I like it.
Okay. So this is the 40 meters as seen from the UK.
Yeah. I like it. Cool. Okay.
So if I come off of John's box here, let me come off of John's box here. Looks like somebody else is already.
Well, that's okay. I see how to get to it now, and it's
Yeah.
working.
So on the mode, yeah. So you'll need to on the right hand side, if you just click on the mode and change that to LSP.
Oh yeah.
That will. Yeah.
Cool.
So now
Okay.
you should be
Very
good.
good. I like that.
Now, if you log in
to
with the app,
come-
do you have a virtual sound card that lets you, that will let you do things like digital modes?
Yeah, so at the moment you can pipe the output to a virtual audio cable, and you can do the decoding of various modes. Ultimately, we've got some good ideas about how we can kind of do this in a very similar way that we did the plug-in system on Uno. We'll do a similar thing with the module system on in SDRconnect, and we've got some really kind of we got a couple of smart guys, not me, I have to that are bringing some really cool stuff to the module system. So
And you I assume you have cat control as well.
yeah, so we're focusing at the moment. We're focusing on getting the initial rig control. Cat control is something that we will add as well.
So if you have a program which expects to send serial commands, cat commands, you'll eventually be able to
Yes.
translate them into your own?
Yeah, so trying to remember off the top of my head, I think SDR Uno presents itself as a Kenwood something 450. I think it's something like that. So we'll probably end up doing the same for SDRconnect. But we're just trying to take. We're just sort of we're sort of doing the rig control stuff in steps, so that we kind of we don't sort of get swamped with trying to get everything working on Windows. We're just making sure that we get everything working on all platforms, slowly, as it were. We're sort of coming up on the. So the first thing is the rig control, being able to do bidirectional control from SDRconnect to the rig, and then the next step on from that would be the cat control, behaving over the serial bus, like you say.
Okay, so AC8XU said, is there a Linux option? I think you've already answered that, right? No Linux.
Yeah, so Linux x86 and Linux ARM, so it'll run on like Raspberry Pis or any Linux box. We test the interesting thing with Linux is that I think there's over, the last time I looked, there's over 600 different Linux distributions. We test on Ubuntu, and so anything that's Ubuntu or variations of Ubuntu, they shouldn't have a problem. We have been told by by people that have just tried it that it does work on, a lot of the other major distributions. But if people find that it doesn't work on a particular distribution, if it's straightforward for us to help and get that working, then we will. We are sort of limited. We are, because we're using a UI kit for this. So if it's a kind of a graphics related issue, it may not be possible to get it resolved. But we'll do our best to help if we can.
And do you support Mac OS and or any of the BSDs?
We support. Sorry, did you say Mac OS? We do support Mac OS. Yeah.
Yeah.
So both on the the Apple Silicon processors, but also on the Intel processors as well.
Any of the BSDs, FreeBSD, NetBSD, any of those?
I haven't done any testing personally. If as long as I think this is going to come down to what the graphics support's like. So it'll be a case of trying it and see. I think, but that's it. Those aren't platforms that we specifically test on. We've had to sort of limit ourselves to what we test on, just purely from the matrix, the testing matrix now for the different. We've got different platforms. We've got RSPs, NRSPs. The testing matrix for this stuff is pretty complex. So multiple Linux distributions just really wasn't something we could take on. But I mean, if somebody wants to try it and let me know how they get on with it, that'd be great.
Okay, well, where were we when we interrupted you with all these questions? How are you doing?
Yeah. So let's see. I mean, I don't know if anybody had any questions about. Are there any users of SDRconnect that have a specific issue or questions?
Well, let's see. W4YYM said, "Is Connect compatible with SDRplay?" I don't know if I understand the question. Do you know what he's referring to?
Well, so SDRconnect will only operate SDRplay hardware, so we don't support anybody else's hardware with it. I don't know if that was the question. But,
okay. So that brings up another question. Only SDRplay I have. Can I run other software on it, or do you run only the SDR software?
Yeah. So So if you've got an RSP, if you've got a 1A say or a 1B or a DXR2 or any of those, there's plenty of other software you can run.
Okay.
SDR console, HDSDR, the ones I'm aware of on Windows.
So have you removed
SDR
that?
There's quite a few.
Have you removed that from the newer radios that you're making, where you have to run SDR software on them?
No, the only the NRSP protocol is only for SDRconnect. So the way that other software will be able to talk to an NRSP is through the module system. Once we've got the module system released, then people will be able to write interfaces through that. Essentially, what if you see SDRconnect as a framework, it's effectively, that's the way into the NRSP rather than the API, which is how you've traditionally got into the RSPs. It's a slightly different access point, I guess, but the net result should be the same. It's just a slightly different way of doing it.
So some people are running these little what is it, RTL dongles,
The
little
RTL
TV
dongles,
dongles.
yeah.
You can run SDR Uno on those, can you not?
Yeah, SDR Uno has an EXTIO mode, so you can provide it with an EXTIO plugin
Okay.
for other hardware, and you kind of get you kind of get a cut down version of Uno.
Okay.
Um,
So
but
so
yeah, but we don't have that for Connect.
the frequency span of the radios now, the SDR play radios, they go from almost DC up how high now? In the
Up to
gigahertz
gigs.
or?
Yeah, two gigahertz is the maximum frequency.
Yeah. So they're basically general coverage all the way from the bottom end up. You don't need any down converter, up converter, or anything to pick
No,
up
no, it's
HF or
yeah,
anything.
no. Anywhere from DC up to 2 gigs, continuous, no
Okay.
gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and there's different modes. So here I can visualize up to 10 megahertz of spectrum. So this is I don't know if you can still see my screen,
Yeah.
but
We're looking at it.
this is now 10 megahertz of spectrum that I'm viewing off of my local NRSP. I can also view 10 megahertz from John's NRSP.
All right. So
Now,
you're saying you're looking at a signal. I mean, you're looking at a band pass of what
yeah, I'm looking at a bandpass of 10 megahertz here,
10 megahertz here.
and I
Now, how
yeah,
do you
yeah.
change that here on the Connect software?
So up on the top here, we've got like this is the hardware control panel,
Yeah.
and so I can specify
Okay.
any any uh, any sample rate here
Yeah.
from 10 megahertz down to 62 kilohertz. And this is where I've got other controls, so I can select different antennas. I can change the gain, the amount of gain that I'm applying, and there's also features. Different RSPs will have different features. So this one's got a
Yeah.
bias T and some notch filters some hardware notch filters that I can enable in software.
So for older ham rigs that don't have the waterfall, people can use this to see the waterfall, see what's going on in the band. Now,
Absolutely,
how do they connect
yeah.
it? They just just the antenna connects to it, and it's just a separate unit. Some people I understand have actually connected it somehow to the IF of the radio.
Yeah, so there's a number of different ways you can connect up the RSP to the some people share the antenna. Obviously, the main antenna. Obviously, you've got to be careful when
Yeah.
you're transmitting. Some rigs have an RF out, which is the full input bandwidth, and then some rigs will have an IF out. So if you can have an IF tap, you can look at the output of the IF there. I think you're limited to about 190 odd kilohertz of spectrum, but it is a protected output, so you can still transmit without
So I can't look at the
destroying
entire
the
band.
RSP.
I can't look at
Not
7
with the
to
IF
750.
outs.
With
If you've
what?
got an RF out on your rig,
Uh,
then you will, but
uh,
not through the IF.
I understand. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a very popular. I mean, the pan adapter is a very popular use case for the RSPs. I mean, I've got um, uh, I use I have always used an RSP 1A. I still use it today as a general purpose pan adapter. It's I always say to people when they ask about what RSP to buy, I just say, well, what do you want to use it for? Because I think some people will buy the most expensive one and realise that the entry level device would have done them just as well. It's so I always say to people, figure out what you want to use it for, and then we've got information on our website. We've got product tables where we list the different features of the different products and which one's more appropriate for use than the others. And then sort of choose the device appropriately. Really, I would always tell people to do that.
So I've got the RSP1A here. It's got 2 antenna connectors on it. Is that just selectable through the?
If it's got 2 antenna ports, that's probably an That's either a DX or an RSP2 maybe.
Oh, okay.
But the RSP1A has only got a single antenna port.
Oh, okay. Okay. Cool.
That was and these different feature choices were we're trying to keep the cost down on the entry level device. For some people who just do HF and nothing else, and they've only got one antenna, the 1A or the 1B as we sell it now, is a great device for them. It's there are some people who do a lot of listening down below 2 megahertz, and the DX and the DXR2, which has now replaced the DX, that's got a mode specifically from 2 megahertz down, so 0 to 2 megahertz, to be able to sort of pull signals out of the noise. So I always sort of say, like I say, pick whatever your use case is. There'll be an RSP that's appropriate for you, for sure. I know quite a few people use them for finding interference sources. I know some people who sort of fit them underneath drones and sort of fly them around with a Raspberry Pi. Being able to sort of visualize the spectrum and find out where the source of interference is on their property, or that's I find that quite a fascinating thing to be able to do.
So Don is asking, will he need to upgrade to the 1B to use Connect?
No, SDRconnect will operate on every RSP except for the RSP1.
Ooh.
The RSP1A, the 1B, DX, DXR2, the 2 Pro, the Duo, and the NRSP are all supported. It's only the RSP1, which is 11 years old now.
Yeah, I just looked. I've got the RSP2.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So it's only the RSP1 that isn't supported by Connect.
But the 1B is?
1A, 1B, 2 Pro,
Okay.
DX, DXR2, and the Duo. Yeah,
okay,
they all
good.
are.
All right, guys, if you got questions, you need to jump in the chat room. Here's your chance to get them answered by the expert.
I think quite an interesting use case is with the Duo. So the Duo, you can, if you've got 2 antennas and you want to see the differences between them real time, you can have the two channels visualized at the same time, and that's quite a popular use case, looking at what 2 different antennas are doing for you at the same time. And we've also got diversity, so the maximum ratio combine facility that we've got, you can use the use one of the antennas to sort of cancel out the noise of the other, and do stuff like that. Improve the signal to noise ratio, which is quite a nice feature.
And you can download Connect from the SDR.
Yeah, I don't know
site.
if you can see the URLs on here, but there's basically there's two places to go on the website. If you've got an NRSP, you go to sdrplay.com/NRSP start. That's where you get the software. That's got SDRconnect in it. Plus, it's got the administration tools for the NRSP. I can show you those actually. And then if you've just got where are we? If you've just got an RSP, then sdrplay.com/sdrconnect, and at the bottom of this page is where the download is for that. So what I can show you is the administration tool for the NRSP and what functionality you've got on there. Let me just log into mine. So, I don't know if you can see that window there. So I'm now connected to my NRSP, and I can set up its Ethernet connection, its Wi-Fi connection if I want to connect it over Wi-Fi. I can have users. So you can have, if you've got a club, say, and you want your people to be able to log in on their own username and password, you can set up users on here. The nice thing about having users is that you can, like with John's got his test account. So the way that works is he can specify how long of time period before that person is kicked off. So basically, for John's NRSP, which is a demo device, we kick people off after sort of 10 or 15 minutes, just so that we can get more people in to have a look at it. So you can do that kind of stuff with users. We've got regional settings here. It tells you can set up what ports the device appears on, and this is a recent feature where you can connect up to a network storage device. And the reason why we've added this is because you can also set up automated recordings. So this has got nothing to do with SDRconnect. This is purely something that's in the NRSP. So I can tell the NRSP, say at the top of every hour, record 5 minutes, and then I can tell it to put it to a specific storage device that's on my network. And then you can obviously, once you've got them on there, you can then play them back through SDRconnect and then do some post-processing on them there. This streaming panel is where you can limit what modes people access on the NRSP. So the different modes require different bandwidths, and so you can prevent people from sort of flooding your network with IQ data. You can limit the bandwidth basically, which is quite useful. And then obviously there's changing the password, and then you can reset the device if you need to.
There's
some
a question
control there,
about,
and then more control will come. We'll have the ability to be able to see not only how many users there are, but who they are, and be able to sort of manage users in a live environment. All of that sort of stuff is coming as well.
So we have a question in the chat room about how many concurrent users. I imagine it based on bandwidth, but you probably still have some limits.
It depends on a few things. So it depends on what mode. So how much, like you say, how much bandwidth each person's taking. It also depends on what demodulator mode. So, for example, four people all logged in doing wideband FM is probably a lot worse than 8 or 9 people just doing single sideband. So it really depends on what the NRSP is being asked to do, basically, in terms of both CPU and bandwidth. But
I think we
single
covered this.
sideband, you probably get 8 or 10 people. I would have thought.
I think we may have covered this earlier. Maybe we haven't. A person that just tuned in. How do you change the width of the pass band you're listening to? The width of the pass band.
So I'm back on the application here. I hope you can see that. Up in this side panel here, I can. So I'm currently on the 40 meter band, and I'm in LSB mode. There's a number of presets I can pick. So I can choose. So 1.8 kilohertz, 2.2, 2.8, or 3, and you can see that I don't know if you can see up the top right here that the pass band is changing width. I can also just grab the red lines here, and I can.
That's cool.
I can specify how much bandwidth I want to do. I can also add, if you've got let's say I wanted to widen that out, but there was a spur there, I could then also add a software notch in here and get rid of that. Get rid of that spur. Yeah.
But the problem I have is remembering how to do all these great things that it does.
Yeah. So we tried to. It is very difficult, right? Because it is. I think these tools are. I think whatever SDR tool you use, they are, because of their nature, they are kind of inherently complicated. And it's quite a challenge to present the UI in such a way that isn't sort of baffling to people. What we've chosen to do with Connect is to just try to limit the amount of stuff that's on the screen at one time. But it is a challenge because some people it's quite funny really. When we did SDR Uno, there was a lot of people who said they didn't like it, didn't like the fact that there was everything available all the time. And then sort of you go forward a couple of years and I've got comments like, well, yeah, SDRconnect's great, but where's all my buttons gone? And and these are probably the same people that were were saying, why are there all these buttons?
I have found that now the internet brings us so much information. I have found if you want to know how do you set the bandwidth on SDR Uno, you just Google it, and usually it'll come right back very quickly, and it'll tell you, click this button here.
Yeah, and I'm sure there'll be. We've done the thing that we have done recently, very recently. Let's see if I can quickly find it. Is that in our SDRconnect? Oh yeah, SDRconnect. We've now got this quick right at the top here. We've got this quick start guide. Can you see that?
Yes.
And if I click on that, this will take us to the quick start guide, and this is designed to be how to get up and running quickly. There's lots of information, pointers to other information if you want further information. But this guide here focuses on what the buttons are. They tell you what each of what they do. So this is probably quite a useful page for people who are using SDRconnect to bookmark and refer back to. And I think it's like a lot of these things. If you end up using this a lot, this will all sink in more than if you only use it infrequently. It's
N6 RLS says he used Uno and he's become very handy with it. He says there's
Yeah.
such a learning curve trying to find the same controls on Connect. But thanks for the passband help. So, yeah, each piece of software is going to be a little different. You got to learn what each little button and symbol
Yeah,
does.
that's true. They all are slightly different, and we've tried to keep some things common, like for example, the notion of virtual receivers. So VRXs that are in Uno are also in Connect. The the primary SP and the aux SP. So some of the terminology that we use, we've tried to reuse some of the terminology so that at least is some familiarity to people. Um, so yeah, it's a difficult thing to get right because some people will just want everything that Uno's got just cross platform, and it just wasn't possible to do that. And so we've had to basically redesign the application from ground up. I mean, it's if you can SDR Uno, which was originally Studio One, that was in development for about 8 years before we acquired
Wow.
it,
Yeah.
and that we acquired it. Was it 2016, 2017? So, SDR Uno essentially has had over a decade's worth of development in it, and so we've only really been working on Connect for the last year and a bit, I would say.
So I
Yeah,
know that
maybe a bit more.
ham radio operators are a big use of these products here, but I think you guys also make these products and sell them to like the UK government or maybe other governments. Do you do any
Um,
specific uh, turnkey systems for them, or do they use the same software?
I think a lot of the professional bodies they take the API. We work with a number of companies that are basically both private sector and for the public sector that basically have their own UI. They have their own sort of stuff that they want to present to people, and so they normally take the API and they build their application around the API. That's normally how it works. Some people do use. I mean, I know that I think some of the um, there are some electricity companies that do use the software that we provide, um, just because it's kind of there and it kind of works really. So I think it's a bit of a mixture, but most of the time they take the API and write around it.
Okay.
And so what they'll end up doing with Connect, if they want to use the NRSP, is they'll end up using the module system in a very similar way.
Brett, do you have a question? Comment?
Yes, I did want to ask one more networking question, which is a little bit nerdy, but I'm curious. A lot of people don't have public internet addresses. If they want to put their SCR out on the net, they can't. Do you have any provisions for setting up a VPN or a MeetMe server so that you can still share your SDR with the net, even if you don't have a public static IP?
So a number of my colleagues, I mean, you can see. I don't know if you saw, but that the address of my colleague John's server was a DDNS address.
Yeah.
So John doesn't have a static IP. He has a dynamic IP, and so he uses DDNS to track the IP of his network, and so that's how he uses it. I do know some other people who only allow access to their NRSP over VPN. That's just the way that they wanted to do it. All of these things are really the choice of the person doing it. We don't like to prescribe how to do network configuration. it's it's uh, it's very difficult because you've obviously got different routers, different capabilities, different levels of experience of the people operating the router, and um, so we have to be very careful about what advice we kind of
Yeah.
give to people. Unfortunately, most of the time we have to sort of say, you know, it's unfortunate. I'd like to go give more network advice than we do, but there are reasons why we uh, don't really want to do that. We just don't want to get people, into a situation that they're not comfortable with their router, and
Oh,
possibly their
oh,
ISP.
oh yeah. I understand. No, what I'm asking though is, and this would actually solve a lot of those problems. Do you have the ability to have a server where you meet someone outside so that they don't have to know all of this? You can just have you have the SDR connect outward, and then the person who wants to use it also connects outward and meets them at that external server. That would require a little bit of effort on your part, but not very much. You just need to make the radio call out to the server.
Um, we don't have that facility, and essentially, I guess what you're sort of this is like a team viewer type application. It would become at that point, right?
Or
Because that's
go to my
what
PC
team
is a good example of that kind of thing.
right. But that requires you to have server infrastructure, right?
Or for someone to set it up other than you. You may not want to actually set it up, but you need to
Yeah.
provide the capability to do it.
Yeah, I don't know. That's something we're going to have to maybe have a look at. It's not something that we've added now. I mean, where we are with the NRSP and SDRconnect, we've got a lot of core functionality that we are focusing on. I would say that probably once that's done, these are the sorts of things that we can uh, see how to if we can implement them. Yeah, I don't know. There's some network security is a very interesting topic because some people like to know what's going on, and some people just want to push a button and have it happen. And and again, it's a kind of a balance between. I mean, I used to work on software where it would sort of effectively it would be a server on the inside of your home network, and it would talk to an application that was on the outside of the network. So I have been down that road before, and it got a very mixed reception. Some people liked the fact that they didn't have to know what happened, and a lot of people didn't like it because they didn't know what was going on. It was um, so yeah, I don't know. It's something we'll have to look at, I think. I'm not a very good politician, am I? I,
Yeah.
I
Well,
no.
again, it's not something political. Someone could always, if your software is modular, someone could always add that later. I imagine. It says
We don't allow.
I personally work, yeah, as an internet provider, and so I encounter both ends of the spectrum: people who want to manipulate everything, and people who want to know nothing and just have it work.
Right.
So yes, I'm familiar with the issue.
Yeah.
We're starting to pick
Yeah.
up some static there on Glenn's picture.
Static cling.
Yeah. Well, Andy, what else do you have there? I don't know if you have more of a presentation out there, or if we've covered most of it.
I think I've really covered that. I mean, I mean, it was really. It's a great opportunity just to sort of
Yeah.
answer some, some of the usability questions. I know some people sort of struggle with new bits of software, and it's just nice to
Yeah.
be able to sort of answer some of those questions. Really.
Well, go ahead and unshare so we can see your face.
Oh, okay.
That's okay.
Yeah, I forgot
Yeah.
I was doing that.
And I
There we
know
go.
it's getting very late there, man. I mean, look, hey, your eyes are still wide open, man. You're doing pretty good, I tell you.
I'm still
Yeah.
kicking. It's Yeah, it's coming up for 3:30 in the morning.
Oh
It's been
man,
good. It's been
you
really, really good fun.
you're making me sleepy now. All right. Well, hey Andy, thanks so much. You got so much information on this sdrplay.com, where a person can go through all the things you've talked about tonight. You can find them on there. My recommendation is everybody just go to sdrplay.com and study their site and look through it, and you'll learn a whole lot. I'm going to download the Connect software and see if I like it better than the Uno software. You know.
Let me know what you think, Tom. I'll be interested to know.
Yeah, we'll do that. All right, man. Well, hey, thanks so much for coming and being on the show tonight. I know it was
No problem.
tough for you, but you did it.
That's really, really good fun. Really
Yeah.
appreciate the opportunity to come on and meet you all.
Thanks.
That's really,
Say
really great.
say hello to John for us.
I will do. I'll pass that on. Okay.
All right, man.
All right.
Hey,
Thanks,
thank you so
Andy.
much. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.
All right, very good. Well, let's see. And you can stick around as long as you want to, man, but I'd be falling asleep. Yeah, you can stay to the end of the show if you want to, but we typically, we usually end the show here in about 10 minutes at 9:30 our time.
You're echoing, Tom.
Yeah, well, I put a little echo in to make me sound better, you know. But you know what? If I turn that down, do I quit echo? Am I still echoing?
Yep.
I am, okay. Well, we'll have to figure that out. Don't know what's causing it. Anyway, well, Glenn, you had an announcement you were going to make, or something was going on there, right?
Yeah. I saw this really cool meme on the internet and decided it would make a wonderful badge.
Yeah.
And so I sent an email over there to Ron and Amy at Gold Medal Ideas, and this is what they gave me.
Danger.
Oops, let's see if we
Hold on,
can't.
stable in.
This is what they made for me for Huntsville.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
okay,
Love it.
cool.
if you want one of your very own, all you got to do is contact Gold Medal Ideas, and they'll make one up for
Well,
you
I'm
and
gonna
send it to you.
contact Ron. He left a few things. He should have had little flashing LEDs on it for you. You know. Where it,
Yeah, big red one.
yeah, you know where it they kind of flash while you're walking around right there, man.
Yeah. But no, this is exactly what I saw, exactly what I wanted, and you got to admit it fits me absolutely perfect.
Yep, I
So,
agree. It
yep,
does.
that's my new bling, and
Now,
I'll be
you need
wearing it in
now you need to
Huntsville.
equip it with an Arduino.
Do what now?
Equip it with an Arduino.
There you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, and that was the other thing is I will be doing an Arduino forum at Huntsville this year.
All right. Maybe maybe Andy can come to Huntsville.
Oh, that'd be
Let,
fun.
Let SDR pay for the trip over, and you come on down to Huntsville. It's in August. Start planning that, Andy. It's a great ham fest. You know,
Yeah, I think
he's
Andy's
gone.
disconnected.
He's gone. I think his picture's frozen there. He's gone.
Yep.
Yeah, he's gone. Okay. All right, guys. Hey, we got about 5 minutes left on the show here. Hang on, I'll be right back, guys. Don't go away. ICOM's IC 7760 is a pinnacle of base station excellence for amateur radio enthusiasts. Designed to deliver unmatched performance, the IC 7760 features state-of-the-art technology, exceptional RF clarity, and an intuitive interface, all housed in a sleek and durable design. This base station features a separate remote control head and RF deck, providing enhanced flexibility for installation. Place the RF deck closer to the antenna feed point, freeing up space on your desk. You can also connect a control head to the RF deck through your home network, enabling remote operation from anywhere in your home without needing a PC. Pair the IC 7760 with a powerful IC PW2 linear amplifier and take your contesting experience to the next level with ICOM's industry-first linear amplifier. Together, they redefine what's possible in amateur radio. For more information about ICOM's amateur radios, please visit icomamerica.com/amateur. Okay, guys. Well, hey, let's thank you for everybody out there that stuck with us tonight, and we had, I think, a good discussion on the SDR radios. If you're out there listening on WBCQ, hey, join us on Tuesday nights. Our show is a live video show, Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Central Time. Just go to w5kub.com. That's the simplest way to get there. We're on about 3 or 4 other things, but if you just go to w5kub.com, you'll find us there. Say good night to everybody out there. Thanks for joining us, and hope we answered your questions. Hit the subscribe button if you hadn't done it yet. That really helps us out a whole lot. All right, and Glenn? Where'd Glenn go? 36,814 Hamvention.
That's right, 36,814 people. Most of them were probably there Saturday morning because it was unbelievably packed on Saturday.
All right.
Oh yeah,
Well,
it was busy on Friday too. I was amazed at how
Yes,
many
it
people
was.
took off
Yes.
Friday, or maybe they were retired and they didn't need to take off.
that's
There
the
you go.
fun.
But yeah, Friday was every bit as busy.
Okay.
So yeah, it was a good Hamfest this year. I think it's a record for like the third or something year in a row.
I'm not sure where the echo's coming from, but I'll figure it out.
I think it came back a little bit slowly after
It came back on.
after COVID hit, but yeah, now it's booming.
Yeah.
I was glad that there was acres and acres of flea market because I was able to find stuff I was looking for.
Flea market was definitely jammed packed on Friday and Saturday.
Now on Sunday, I think they
think-
opened it up. They don't even require it. They don't think they even require admission on Sunday.
So
That's
they do?
correct.
They don't.
They do not.
Yeah.
And but yeah, the flea market was amazing, and my little mileage meter that I got on my backpack said that over the course of the weekend, counting the air concourse running and walking and stuff, I ended up walking about 20 plus miles. That probably 22 miles the entire 4 days, 5 days.
That's a lot of miles.
Yes, my feet were sore come Thursday, Sunday when I got on the plane. Then I had to run almost from one concourse to 3 concourses over in Chicago, but I made the flight.
I hate doing that, man.
But I got home in time.
I like to have a lot of time between,
Well, the flight was late leaving Dayton,
yeah.
and fortunately, the one in Chicago to Little Rock was delayed a little bit because of thunderstorms. And I got in just before the storms hit, made it home, and 10 minutes later, the storms hit the house. So it was good. Made it home.
Yeah. All right. All right. Good night, everybody. We're going to go ahead and turn it off and get me some popcorn tonight. I'm going to go to bed early. I'm tired. Andy made me sleepy and tired, man. It's 3 o'clock in the morning somewhere, 3:30 somewhere.
But you don't have to get up in the morning and go to work like he probably does.
That's true. That's true. I don't have to.
You can sleep in.
Well, we're going to end the show here with a special message here for our friend Elon. Here we go.
Hey, Tom, I just wanted to let you know that when we get our mission to Mars going, I want to schedule you and your show to be the first to communicate with us in space. By the way, I never miss an episode of Amateur Radio Roundtable on Tuesdays nights on w5kub.com.
All right. Good night, everybody. Wrong button. Wrong one. Got too many here. 73 is good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.